Alright, hello. This is Speaking Freely, and I'm Russell Parker. And I figure I'd talk just a little bit about the need to dial yourself down to fit into this world. And it only occurred to me due to the idea that I was thinking on the past and having to make a choice as a child to do one thing and not another. And I couldn't do both. And I couldn't do both because we were too poor to do so. And to briefly explain the idea, and not to like look, but I might, you know, selfish or jealous of the idea. At the time, I definitely was, and it took a while to work through. It took a long while actually, and probably not through it quite yet, But when I was young, I was in the Cub Scouts, and then the Boy Scouts eventually. And my cousin was into baseball and was all into baseball. He loves baseball just like a lot of men do still. And I didn't like sports. I still don't like sports. But maybe with baseball, I could like sports at this day, and it doesn't really matter to me right now. But at the time, baseball could have been fun, and it would have got me to be able to play with him. He did join the Cub Scouts with me for like one day and didn't like it, left, whatever reason. Who cares? And I never got the option to play baseball, even though I probably would have been good at it. And then because of the lack of playing sports, I had never excelled in sports, and we ain't got to get into that point too much. The idea was, we were too poor to afford two kind of training sessions for me. So along came bowling at one point. I can't remember how old I was, but I went bowling with someone from a friend of the family, and I did better than they did. And then I think so. I can't say for sure, but I did really well. And then I got to play again another time, and we got to play. It seems like it was 3 or 4 times in a matter of a week or something like that. And I don't know what was going on during that time, but they suggested to me that you should get bowling lessons so that you can become a bowler and you'd be really good at it. And I couldn't do bowling because we were too poor to afford two things. Cub Scouts was too much, baseball was too much. I couldn't do bowling as well. And then the part that incites jealousy within me, I'll say, is a dandy came on the scene uh, in about the same time frame as the bowling. And Dandy is a horse who apparently we come to figure out, and not really sure, but Dandy was probably bought while she was doped up on some kind of drug, tranquilizer of some sort. Yeah, tranquilizer of some sort. And we figured it out over time because this horse was crazy. It had never really been broken properly or trained or whatnot, and it had bucked my father like way high in the air. He landed on his shoulder one time. It ran up another lady uh, who was a professional horse rider. It run her up into the barbed wire at our house, and she got cut up a couple times. And then it threw somebody else off that was basically a professional, or at least knew what he was doing, amateur wise, with horses. It bucked him as well, and over the course of, we had that horse several years, I believe. I can't really remember my childhood, but I remember running from that horse repeatedly in fear because it had domination of probably about 4 to 5 acres of our land. It could go almost anywhere it wanted to go, and that's where we were. And it was an untrained horse. I was scared of it, and for good reasons, you know. But it's a full size horse. I'm a little kid, and I was a small child, even, you know. Either way, the horse was expensive. You know, you have to maintain a horse, you have to feed a horse, you have to buy the horse. All kinds of things goes into that horse, and then a medical visit, and then you know, the idea to bring people in there to see if they could ride the horse, they had to pay for that. All kinds of stuff went in this horse. I can't remember how long we had it, but it was long enough to where it's ingrained in my memory still, even though I barely remember my childhood. And either way, we were too poor to afford baseball or bowling for me, but we could afford a whole horse for my sister. You know, beyond me of understanding that still at this point. So, you know, let's see where I was going with that. The bowling for me, I was pretty good at bowling. It seems like I might have been 12 or 13 for that. I'm not really sure. And then upwards until the time I hit 16. I'm pretty sure I was driving at the time. We went bowling with the youth league with the youth group for church, and I remember getting strike after strike and a spare and a strike, and I like really just dominating everybody, honestly. And it had to get to the point where I had to start messing up on purpose, just not to get messed with. I had to lower myself and what I could do just to fit in with the rest of you people. And at the same time, it was very awkward for me because the youth group would put on the screen, you know how you can put nicknames or your own name on the screen for the scorecard. They would put Gump for me, which, you know, for Forrest Gump. I won't say who started it, but it was very impactful for me to be called Gump, and not a good way, to be called basically retarded at the time, and to be labeled as a retarded person, and it to be celebrated within the youth group, within the youth pastor. He was there, and he was fine with it, you know. And it boggles my mind now to how, you know, somebody could let that occur. But whatever, you know, whatever. They were calling me Gump. At the same time, I needed to lower my ability to fit in to their group, who was just awful at bowling, you know. And then I can't really say I had to lower myself much more throughout, you know, the high school days and up into college and such. It seemed like I got far behind everybody else socially anyway. I had my select group of friends and all that kind of thing. It wasn't like I was an outcast at the time. Let me pause it. I think I'm gonna go somewhere else. However, I am concerned this video might shut off if I don't unpause it. So give me a second. Yeah, so bringing yourself down just to fit in with other people is what I've had to do many times in my life. And then it seems that hanging around with people, I had to change my language. I had to change the way I speak. I had to change a lot of things about the way I behaved just to fit in. And at the same time, it wasn't like to be not to be a goody two shoes or something to that effect. I don't know what it was, you know. I know when I first started speaking in teenage times and having to learn how to cuss properly, you have to learn how to cuss to fit in. I got severely made fun of that because I couldn't make sense of it because I just started cussing like that week, and everybody else had been fluent with cussing like their whole life, it seemed like. but but that doesn't really change anything there. Let me see what else we could talk about. Nowadays, I have been dimming my own light, uh, not sharing the gospel as I see it, not sharing what I see, in the spiritual community and in church and religion, all sorts of places. Uh, the fact that I feel horrible for coming out as an abused child, a sexually abused child, that I might destroy my family. And of course, we could bring scripture into that and talk about that, but we don't have to right now. You know, but me speaking out about my reality, about the fact that my father is showing himself to me boldly, but only if I approach him. Well, so I'll say, oh shoot, I don't even know why I said it like that. I would walk in the door of the bathroom, and he's standing there with his penis in his hand, his pecker, his dick, whatever you want to say. He's standing there with his dick in his hand, not peeing, just standing in front of the toilet. This happens so many times in my life, I can't even say. I don't think he's ever been peeing. He's always just been standing there holding his dick. And I'll open the door because the door is ajar this much. You think nobody's in the bathroom until you get into a pattern of this occurring occasionally. Then you get wary of it, of course, so you don't like jump into the bathroom. You don't just like swing the bathroom open and go in there. You gently open the bathroom and look. And like, okay, cool, I can go in or not. And then somehow or another, he tends to wait long enough to where I'm not doing that, and I open the door and it's like, oh my God, come on, dude, why? But the thing is, it's not like it's bad, It's his house. He can stand in the bathroom with his penis out, and it's no big deal, But he should shut the door, right? It seems like there should be a decency level within society that we can or not allow these things, within families that, of their own code. We have never been nudist or even open sexually. I never got the birds and the bees talk or anything of that matter. And yet my father is totally fine with standing in the bathroom with a dick in his hand. And when I open the door, he just looks up at me. He just looks over at me. He doesn't blink. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't turn away. He doesn't hide his dick. He doesn't cover his dick. He doesn't do anything. He just looks at me like almost dumbfounded. I'm just like, dude, shut the door, man. Come on. It's happened over and over and over and over and over. This last 13 months or so that I had to come back and live with them. I had to, I felt I needed to. It happened 5 or 6 times, maybe more. And in the middle of those, probably the 3rd or 4th time, I lost it, man. I'm just like, I yelled at him, repeatedly, like, shut the fucking door, man. Like, what are you doing here? What if my niece walks in here on the same property? It's a separated zone, of course. I have 2 young nieces and a younger nephew that I don't think, personally, it's a good idea for them to be able to walk in the bathroom and see what I see and get the reaction that I get from that explicit word, from that piece of shit. Basically, uh, if I were to come live in my sister's house, but I had the typical behavior that I would leave the door open and just stand there with my dick in my hand until somebody walks in and just look at them, I'm pretty sure that she would kick me out instantly the first time it ever happened, and probably even call the cops. But for her father, who I explained this to, her. Uh, she says they do it at their house too, so it's not a big deal. And once again, it's just me standing there with somebody else's dick in their hand, and I'm the one that's the crazy person. Let me continue on. All right, so I come on here and I figure I'd talk about these things and express it, and for those of you that find me and find some comfort in the fact that somebody else is speaking of their reality, even though it could bring damages to others' lives. If you're here watching for that reason, thank you, and watch some more. I'm going to talk some more. We shouldn't have to be dimming ourselves just to fit in with these dirt bags. It's pathetic that they do what they do, and they should be destroyed, so to speak, and whatever way that is. Whether as the scripture would tell us, we need to publicly rebuke those who break the commandments of God's law. And that may be wrong the way I say it, but it's the reality of it. We need to rebuke those, which is calling them out in public and making it known what they're doing. That is, if they don't correct their ways, you need to give them, I'm pretty sure it's actually written in the scripture, you need to give them a warning before you bring it out publicly. You need to confront them, which I have done repeatedly, until it just got to, I'm wasting my time completely, and I don't even know if you understand what I'm saying, I'm going to talk about it in public because I'm tired of being the only one to say it. I'm tired of being the only one that knows. I'm tired of being tired. I'm tired of being abused by you people who are just scum. My father is scum, and so is my mother. She knows all about it. And we'll talk about more later. I think that's enough for now. I don't even know if I really touched on the topic properly, so thanks for watching and such, and I'll talk later.